mille pardons. It was a very gay evening.
Yes, will remain forever a golden item on scroll of memory.
Mr. Castanero, may I introduce my cousin, Mr. Fernand?
How do you do?
How do you do? Glad to know you. Mr. Chan.
Mr. Chan?
The Countess has told me about your activities in South America. I'm glad we're on the same side. Oh, Watkins, some cocktails.
Yes, sir.
Won't you sit down?
Hello, Watkins.
Good afternoon, miss.
Mr. Castanero wanted to discuss some papers from Mr. LaFontaine's office.
I'm sorry, Mr. Castanero's entertaining just now.
Oh, tell him we're here. We'll wait in the den if you don't mind.
Very well, sir. I'll inform him you're here.
You know, you have a very remarkable memory, Mr. Chan.
Oh, so?
I happen to know the Countess has never been in Honolulu.
Well, location not important. Just so I meet beautiful Countess someplace. Yes. Oh, unfortunate famine of cigarettes. Thank you so much. Oh. Not popular brand.
No, I have them made up for myself.
Oh, I see. Very pleasing and distinctive flavor.
I'm glad you like them.
Yes, taste like have coquina bark in them.
I wouldn't know.
So, I'm not quite sure.
Must be very costly cigarette, huh?
Not so expensive, no, Mr. Chan.
Uh-huh. Very delightful.
Cocktail, sir?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Cocktails not one of Charlie Chan vices.
I see. May I?
Oh, please.
Oh, thank you. I seem to be just in time.
Hello, Theodore.
Andre?
Countess Alaman. This is Mr. Van Sherby, a business associate of mine. My cousin, Mr. Fernand.
How do you do?
Of course, you know Mr. Chan.
Oh, yes. I have met Mr. Chan.
Yes, already enjoying growing acquaintance.
Well, I certainly am glad that I have decided to drop in on my old friend Castanero for a cocktail.
How are you enjoying your trip, Mr. Chan?
Oh, very much indeed. Charming.
This letter just came for you, sir.
Thank you.
And Miss Blanchard and Mr. Thompson are waiting for you in the library.
Mr. Blanchard?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Pardon me, please. You'll have to excuse me for a few minutes.
Hello, Mr. Castanero.
Oh, hello. I'd forgotten. You brought the papers?
Well, before we hand over any of my uncle's papers to the rest of the syndicate, we feel that his affairs should be audited and his will probated.
Why, that's ridiculous. There's nothing to be debated about our particular deal.
I must insist upon that.
Oh, very well, Renee. Now, you'll have to excuse me. I have to make a phone call. I'll get in touch with you a little later. I'm sorry.
McNally speaking.
Hello. This is Henry Castanero. I've just received a warning. My life is in danger. At this very minute. Yes. Well, you know what happened to La Fontaine?
Be right there.
Go on, Sergeant.
Oh, charming portrait.
Yes, isn't it? They're very charming people.
And I have never come back again. I say, where is everybody? Pardon me a moment, please.
I think I'll have a cigarette.
Oh, certainly.
Where's Mr. Castanero?
He was in here. What's happened, officer?
Keep everybody in the house. Dead? Say, how did you get here ahead of me?
Was seeking information. When heard police siren, knew something was wrong, so forced door. Very much like the way Mr. LaFontaine died.
No doubt about it.
Yes, same way, same method.
Well, can't be Swenson this time. He's still in jail. That shoots him out of the case completely. Now what?
Patience. Possess plenty time to listen. Many questions must be asked. Found this in dead man's hand.
You're in great danger. Lock yourself in until you secure police protection. And Oscar Swenson.
Yes. Events now break rapidly like firecracker exploding in face of innocent passerby. Suggest we go interview writer of warning notes.
Good idea. But first, let's interview these birds out here. Come on.
What's happened, officer?
Your master's been murdered.
What?
Is everybody here?
Everybody except Miss Planchet and Mr. Thompson. They had an interview with Mr. Castanara and then left. But there was another gentleman here.
What gentleman?
Mr. Fernand. He left just a few moments before police car arrived.
Did you actually see him go?
Oh, yes, without doubt.
We'll check on them later. But first, we've got to get to Swenson. So I can keep everybody here until we get back.
She mailed a letter, Captain. Swenstrom slipped it to her when she came to visit him yesterday.
And why not? I have the right to post a letter for my husband no matter where he writes it.
It just happens to be against police department regulations. Your husband here is being held on suspicion. I'm holding you for the same reason.
But what'll I do, Mr. McNally? I have a broadcast tonight.
I'm sorry. Now, Swenstrom, do you want to talk or do you want me to throw your wife in jail?
Tell them what they want to know, Oscar. I know you have nothing to fear.
Well? I told you I wasn't taking any more calls. Oh. All right, put him on.
Oh, Captain? I can't hold Von Sherby much longer. He wants to phone the DA. Insists as attorney for both the murdered guys, you can't hold him.
Wait a minute. It's Von Sherby. He's screaming for the DA. Can't I hold him as a material witness?
I don't know. He's got a lot of friends downtown.
Okay, Danziger. Release everybody. Tell them to go back to their own homes and stay there in case we need them. That goes for Von Sherby, too. I don't care what he says. He's a material witness.
Where have you been?
The police held me.
Just you?
No, everybody.
And?
Nothing, not even fingerprints. They finally released it. Why did you leave me holding the bag?
I didn't know there was a bag.
No, you could have at least told me the police were on their way.
I didn't know they were on their way.
Liar. You were superb tonight, Andre. When did you do it?
Do what?
Kill him. Castanero.
I didn't do it. I didn't even have a chance.
Well, who did then?
We thought you might be able to tell us.
Well, I don't know a thing about it.
Yes. Who? Somebody else must be sitting in on this game.
Nonsense. It was done by somebody in this room.
I wasn't on the premises.
You could have been. You're not being modest, are you, Andre?
Maybe he doesn't trust us enough to confide in us anymore.
I tell you, I didn't do it.
Then why did you leave?
Chan. He's on our trail.
Ridiculous.
Maybe you won't think it's so ridiculous when I tell you he was here tonight. He searched this apartment.
What are we waiting for?
Put that carving knife away. You make me nervous. What about Von Sherby?
He'll have to wait. We're going to take care of Chan first, tonight.
You are very late caller, Mr. Thompson. Zeal and loyalty for late employer most commendable. Also, most dangerous.
But, Mr. Chan, Mr. LaFontaine was more than my employer. He was kinder to me than a father. Now he's dead. I almost feel it was partly my fault.
It is too bad. But can fallen fruit return to branch? No. I repeat, your actions most dangerous.
I don't care. His partners in the deal. They're the ones who are responsible. I warned him in the beginning. I told him he was playing with dynamite.
Would respectfully like to remind you that Mr. Castanaro, extremely dead person, in same way Mr. LaFontaine was disposed of.
And it's Von Sherby. He's a crook, an embezzler. There were 3 South American republics would nab him tomorrow if they had an extradition law.
Oh, really? Very interesting.
I've been checking up on him ever since Mr. LaFontaine went into this deal. I was going to lay the facts before him the day he was killed. Mr. Chan, I want to do everything I can to help.
Then please do nothing. Then Charlie Chan not have to worry about you, too.
All right, you in. I'll tell you the name of the murderer, but if you fail to catch him, it means my life.
We won't fail.
You must take no chances. Be very careful. He's a cunning and desperate criminal. We'll stop at nothing.
Who is it, Oscar? We'll take every precaution. What's his name?
The name of the man who murdered Simon LaFontaine and Henry Castanaro is Von Sherby.
I knew it. So I can get a couple of cards from the boys. Right. I told you I'd crack this case, Charlie. Come along with me if you'd like to see me pinch a murderer.
Yes, desire same most earnestly.
Could I have a radio? My wife's broadcast will be on in a few minutes.
Give him anything he wants.
Right. Well, he beat us to the punch.
Yes. And with usual weapon.
Why not? He knew it was sure and fast. Captain McNally speaking. Let me have the homicide bureau.
Yes. Very sure and very fast.
Hello, Bill. Well, we got your murder all right for you. Yeah, Von Sherby. Yeah, but he bumped himself off before we got here. Yeah, send Dr. Double in the wagon over right away, will you? Okay. No. To his office. Right, Bill. You know, I hated to be so hard on poor old Swenstrom, but it was the only way I knew to break the case.
And what happened to Mr. Swenstrom now?
Well, he can go home. There's no more danger now that the murderer is dead.
Well, would suggest keeping original suspect until all side issues of case are finished.
You know, that might be a pretty good idea at that, Charlie. Tell you what I'll do. I'll come up to your house tonight and we can talk the case over.
Oh, very nice idea. Would ask you to bring original suspect to house also.
Okay. We ought to have a very interesting confab.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Mr. Chan told us to meet him here.
Come right in and make yourself at home.
was at the door, Birmingham. Anything the matter?
How do you do, Miss, Oh, I'm Tommy Chan. Can I help you?
Your father's not at home.
Why, no, not yet. Did Birmingham let you in?
Why, yes.
Well, what happened to him? Where'd he go?
Pull the shades.
Tommy! Birmingham! Good evening. So sorry no one at home to admit or welcome you. Please sit down.
You sit down.
Oh, thank you so much.
Rock, Mr. Chan forgot to close the door. Close it, please.
Well, Countess, add inevitable decoration to scene. Or is it Miss Aguirre? And Mr. Parot, or Mr. Fernand, if you prefer, or perhaps would rather use name of Citron, or Voronov, or Rombauer. This unexpected pleasure. And strange gentleman last seen driving Mr. Lafontaine's car.
I have some questions to ask you, Mr. Chan. You better answer them straight and fast. You've been following this LaFontaine chemical deal very closely. A little too closely for our comfort. You know too much.
Oh, that compliment. But he who squanders today, talking about yesterday's triumphs, have nothing to boast of tomorrow.
Forget the parables, Chan. We're determined to find out what you know about this deal.
Oh, what deal?
You know what we're talking about.
Well, you did say sit down. Thank you so much. No, nothing except that shipload of chemicals on way to opposing party in your country. You could not stop ship from sailing, so you determined to get formula from one of 4 men who know secret. You make plan to kidnap Mr. Lafontaine and get secret from him under threat of death. But before could succeed, Mr. Lafontaine murdered.
Go on.
Yes, right so far. Yes, good. Can see in faces it is so.
This isn't getting us anywhere.
Oh, patience, Countess. Must gather at leisure what may use in haste. It is fool in hurry who drink tea with fork.
Never mind the platitudes, Chan. Talk.
It was a matter of life and death for you to get formula, because if you fail, the people who you represent would show no mercy.
That's Tom.
So, your next move was to use most charming of all deadly weapons, beautiful lady, and Miss Aguirre played her part to perfection.
We'll dispense with the compliments.
Yes, of course.
Here, driver.
Answer the door, Chan, and be careful.
Well, totally unexpected visitor.
I can't find Pete. There's been another attempt on my life. Someone tried to choke me in the hallway of my apartment house. Then someone else came up in the elevator and he ran away.
Oh, very interesting.
In here, please.
Miss Planchette, secretary to late Mr. Lafontaine, first in series of murder victims.
You know anything about Swenstrom's formula?
I've never even seen it.
Yes. Please sit down.
Chan, I'll give you exactly 3 minutes to give us Swenstrom's formula.
Well, but maybe not know Mr. Swenstrom's formula.
You know the formula. We've been watching your work closely. You've got 2 minutes and 50 seconds left.
Well, necessity drive hard bargain, but he who goes into hills after tiger must pay price. This glass tube contains chemical made from formula. It is poison gas which can cause very quick death.
Hey, listen to that. Shh.
Now you're showing some sense, Chan.
Well, many thanks for approval. Have made some experiments. Will be interested in discovery. Glass is of very peculiar composition, very sensitive to high pitch of sound.
Never mind the glass. What about the formula?
Can't you see he's only stalling for time?
He can't stall very long. You have 2 minutes left.
Oh, not much time will hasten to explain. Of course, you are familiar enough with gas to realize could kill everybody in a room.
1 minute and 50 seconds.
Am hastening fast.
1 minute and 45 seconds. Better talk, Chan.
Have here a record of radio program. Beautiful lady singing in high coloratura soprano. Easily achieve note of E. This very high pitch. Gas now in room. Advise not to move. Physical exertion only make final death more agonizing. Poison invisible and odorless, but even now in lungs and sipping into bloodstream.
Why doesn't somebody do something? Open the door. Open the window.
This death cannot be escaped. First, choking sensation, then tingling of fingers, then limbs become paralyzed, and then poison strikes heart.
Come on, let's get out.
What the dickens is going on here?
Really entertaining friends with little mental suggestion trick.
What's the matter with them?
Oh, they think they're dying of poison gas. You know, power of suggestion always very interesting to me. Actually, tube contain nothing but air.
And what's Renee doing here?
Oh, charming Miss Planchette, merely innocent bystander.
Charlie, you shouldn't have tried to handle this thing all by yourself.
Well, ship with too many pilots sometimes have difficulty reaching port. Oh, pardon me, Captain McNally, Miss Aguirre, and Mr. Parot, alias Mr. Fernand, and several other names of hand, who has been cashiered from at least 3 armies. And Mr. Grock, who was born without conscience.
Are they mixed up in this?
Oh, most assuredly.
I know the tomato, but how do the others fit in?
Well, in business of ferreting out wartime secrets. Immediate job at hand now is finding out formula of dangerous gas and preventing shipment of same. Here, I have pictures and also list of crimes. Many foreign governments very interested in finding 3 people with very busy hands.
Danziger, turn him over to the federal boys. Well, Charlie, I guess that about washes the whole thing up.
Torn with grief to disagree.
What?
Have a small experiment to take attention of valued friend. Also, believe Mr. Swenstrom will be interested in same. Have just learned this evening identity of true killer and how he murdered his victims. Clever inventor have discovered dangerous poison gas. When partners try to cheat him, he make plan to kill them one by one. He place gas-filled tubes in radio in advance of killings, making sure a victim was alone in room with certain particular radio program turned on. Not so?
You're very clever, Mr. Chan. I'm afraid I underrated you when first we met.
Yes, that customary. Only important thing that you do not underrate me when we part.
Sergeant, take this guy outside and hold on to him until I find out what this is all about. Come on.
Well, Mr. Swenstrom spent lifetime inventing poison gas to kill countless thousands. When he find out partners tried to cheat him, he thought nothing of destroying them, just so long he not endanger himself. So...
Now, wait a minute. Swenstrom was in jail. How did he set these things off?
He did not. Mrs. Swenstrom planted tubes in radios. And she then tuned radios to her station. In cases of Castanaro and von Scherby, she turned radio on, but so low that no sound emerged. In case of La Fontaine, she knew that he always listened to her program in the morning. Then, as you know, Mr. Swenstrom sent out warning letters to victims telling them to lock themselves in rooms. And Mrs. Swenstrom then did actual killing over radio.
Well, anyway, I had the right guy locked up all the time.
Oh, yes. Police department emerged in shining garments of success.
I'll see you later, Charlie. I've got to go down to the station, book that guy, and then put out a pickup for Mrs. Swenstrom. Come on, honey.
Oh, please, do not forget humble Charlie Chan when sending out wedding announcements.
So long, Charlie.
Goodbye, Mr. Chan.
Mr. Chan, you ought to have all the credit for solving this case.
Well, after dinner is over, who cares about spoon?
Let's pack up and go back to San Francisco, Pop.
Yes, wherever one is not, that is where heart is. You know, twice tonight, in grave danger of joining illustrious ancestors.
Is you really going to go, Mr. Chan? No fooling?
Oh, yes. To San Francisco.
Oh, of course.
Yes. Yes, on this am firm like Gibraltar rock.